Gentlemen, listen up, because what I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes could genuinely change your life in the bedroom. I'm talking about 5 specific, completely natural powders that you can put directly on your tongue right before intimacy that can dramatically improve your blood flow, ignite your stamina, boost your firmness, and reignite that spark you thought was gone for good. No prescriptions, no complicated routines, no embarrassing trips to the doctor's office just to walk out with a pill that costs a fortune and comes with a laundry list of side effects. Just 5 natural compounds that your body already knows how to use. And I'm going to tell you exactly what they are, where to get them, and how much to take. Right now, no waiting. I'm Dr. Ava Remington, and I've spent over 20 years working with men's health and intimacy medicine. I've sat across from hundreds, honestly, probably thousands, of men just like you. Good men, devoted husbands, hard workers, men who built their families, raised their kids, showed up every single day, and now, somewhere in their 60s or 70s, they're sitting in my office with that same look, that quiet, heavy kind of embarrassment that they didn't expect to ever feel. And every single time I tell them the same thing I'm going to tell you right now. This is not the end of your story, not even close. Before I walk you through each powder, and I promise we're getting there in just a moment, I want you to do something for me. If this is already hitting home, if you're nodding along and thinking, yeah, this is exactly what I needed to hear, go ahead and type the number 1 in the comments. If you're still on the fence, type 0. I read every single comment, and your feedback genuinely shapes what I cover next. So go ahead and drop that number. It only takes a second. Now let me tell you about someone I'll call Gerald. Gerald came into my clinic in Phoenix about 3 years ago. He was 67, retired after 35 years working construction, tough as nails, and married to his high school sweetheart for 44 years. He looked healthy, he was active, but when he sat down, he couldn't even make eye contact at first. Finally, he said, "Dr. Remington, I feel like I'm failing my wife. We still love each other like crazy, but in the bedroom, I just can't show up the way I used to. I make excuses, I go to bed early, I pretend I'm tired, and I can see it in her eyes that she knows. It's tearing me up inside." If you've ever felt even a fraction of what Gerald felt, that quiet dread, that creeping self-doubt, I want you to know you are absolutely not alone. This is one of the most common things I deal with, and it's one of the least talked about. Men carry this in silence because they think it means something fundamental is broken. It doesn't. What it usually means is that your body needs a little targeted support, and once you give it that support, the results can be remarkable. So, let's talk about the science. And I'm going to keep this simple, because you don't need a medical degree to understand what's happening in your body. Here's the bottom line. A strong, reliable erection is fundamentally about blood flow. That's it. When you get aroused, your body releases a molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide signals the smooth muscles in the blood vessels of your penis to relax and open up, a process called vasodilation. When that happens, blood rushes in, fills the erectile tissue, and you get a firm, lasting erection. The problem is, as men get older, nitric oxide production naturally declines. Your blood vessels get a little stiffer. Circulation isn't quite as efficient. And that's when things start to change in the bedroom. The good news? There are specific natural compounds that directly support your body's nitric oxide production and overall blood flow. And they work fast. We're talking 30 to 60 minutes. That's why I call these pre-intimacy powders. You take them before you need them, and they get to work right when you do. All right, let's get into it. Here are the 5 powders, exactly what they do, how much to take, and where you can actually find them. The first one, and honestly the most powerful one for immediate results, is L-Citrulline. Now, you may have heard of L-Arginine. It's been talked about for years in the men's health space. But here's what most people don't know. L-Citrulline is actually more effective. Here's why. When you take L-Arginine directly, a lot of it gets broken down in your gut and liver before it ever makes it into your bloodstream. L-Citrulline bypasses that whole problem. Your body converts it into L-Arginine further down the line and then into nitric oxide. And because it takes a different metabolic pathway, much more of it actually gets through. The result? a significantly bigger boost to your nitric oxide levels compared to taking L-Arginine directly. For pre-intimacy use, I recommend around 3 to 6 grams of L-Citrulline powder, taken 30 to 60 minutes before. You'll notice firmer erections, improved stamina, and better overall blood flow. This one is the backbone of any natural performance stack. Where to get it? L-Citrulline powder is widely available. You can find it on Amazon. Brands like Bulk Supplements, Now Sports, and Nutricost all carry pure L-Citrulline powder at very reasonable prices. You can also find it at GNC Vitamin Shop or any health food store. Look for pure powder with no additives. A 1-pound bag typically runs anywhere from $15 to $25 and will last you a long time. The second powder is one that might surprise you. Beetroot powder. I know. It doesn't sound particularly glamorous, but don't let that fool you. Beetroot is loaded with natural nitrates, dietary compounds that your body converts directly into nitric oxide through a completely different pathway than L-Citrulline. That's the key thing here. Because it works through a separate mechanism, when you combine beetroot with L-Citrulline, you're hitting nitric oxide production from 2 different angles at the same time. The synergy between these two is genuinely impressive. Take about 5 to 10 grams of beetroot powder 30 to 60 minutes before intimacy. Think of it as opening up every artery and getting your whole vascular system primed and ready. Athletes have been using beetroot powder for years to improve endurance and circulation. And the same properties that help a marathon runner also help you in the bedroom. Where to find it? Again, Amazon is your best bet for pure beetroot powder. Brands like Nature Vibe Botanicals, Micro-Ingredients, and Anthony's all have quality options. Whole Foods, Sprouts, and most natural grocery stores carry it too. You're looking at roughly $10 to $20 for a decent-sized bag. Just make sure you're buying pure beetroot powder, not a blended juice mix with added sugar. The third powder is Maca root, and this one works a little differently from the first two. Maca doesn't directly boost nitric oxide. Instead, it works on the other half of the equation. Your drive, your desire, your mental energy going into an intimate moment. Maca is what's called an adaptogen, meaning it helps your body adapt to stress and supports overall hormonal balance, without directly manipulating your hormones. Men who use Maca consistently report a genuine increase in libido, better mood, more physical energy, and a stronger sense of overall vitality. It doesn't make you feel jittery or artificial. It just makes you feel more like yourself, the version of yourself you remember from 15 or 20 years ago. For pre-intimacy use, take about 1 to 3 grams of maca root powder about 30 to 60 minutes before. Gelatinized maca, that's maca that's been heat processed, is generally easier on your stomach than raw maca, so look for that when you're shopping. Where to get it? Maca is everywhere these days. Amazon has tons of options. Navitas Organics and the Maca team are 2 well-respected brands. You'll also find it at Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and most supplement stores. A bag usually runs $10 to $25 depending on size and quality. The fourth powder is one that's been used for centuries and is only now starting to get the attention it deserves in modern men's health circles. Pine pollen. This one is a little more subtle in its effects, but don't underestimate it. Pine pollen contains plant-based sterols and adaptogenic compounds that gently support hormonal balance and overall masculine vitality. It doesn't hit you like a freight train the first time you take it. What it does is contribute to a deeper, more sustained sense of vigor, energy, and confidence. The kind of inner strength that makes intimate moments feel natural and powerful rather than forced or anxious. A smaller dose of around 1 gram is typically all you need. Some men prefer to use pine pollen as a daily supplement, rather than just pre-intimacy, because its benefits are cumulative over time. Where to find it? Pine pollen is a little more specialized than the others, but it's still easy to find. Lost Empire Herbs is one of the most respected brands in this space. You can also find it on Amazon under brands like Surthrival or Raw Forest Foods. Expect to pay a bit more, usually $20 to $40 for a quality product, but a little goes a long way. And the fifth powder, this one's the heavy hitter when it comes to firmness and sustained erections, is Horny goat weed extract. Now, the name always gets a laugh in my clinic, but I promise you, The results are no joke. The active compound in horny goatweed is called Icariin. Icariin is what's known as a natural PDE5 inhibitor. If that term sounds familiar, it's because that's the same mechanism that pharmaceutical ED medications use. What that means in plain English is that Icariin helps relax the smooth muscle tissue in the penis, which allows blood to flow in freely and stay there, giving you firmer, longer-lasting erections. Now, the key with horny goatweed is paying attention to the Icariin percentage on the label. You want an extract standardized to at least 10% Icariin, ideally between 10% and 20%. A dose of around 500 milligrams to 1 gram of a quality extract with that Icariin concentration is what you're aiming for, taken 30 to 60 minutes before intimacy. Where to get it? Look for standardized horny goatweed extract on Amazon. Now Foods, Pure Science Lab, and Doublewood Supplements all make solid products with clearly labeled Icariin percentages. GNC and Vitamin Shop carry it too. Prices range from $15 to $35 depending on the brand and concentration. Again, always check that Icariin percentage. That's the number that matters. Now here's where it really gets interesting. For the men who want maximum impact, and based on the comments I get on this channel, that's most of you, consider combining these powders into what I call a pre-intimacy stack. The most powerful foundation is L-Citrulline plus Beetroot Powder. Together, these two supercharge nitric oxide production through two separate pathways simultaneously, and the combined effect on blood flow is genuinely significant. If you want to take it a step further, add a smaller dose of Maca for drive and mental energy, and horny goatweed extract for firmness. That 4-powder combination covers every major pillar of male sexual performance: blood flow, nitric oxide, libido, and erection quality. Gerald, the man I told you about earlier, the retired construction worker from Phoenix, he started with just the L-Citrulline and beetroot combination, nothing else. And about 6 weeks later, he came back into my clinic, and I swear the man was a different person. He walked in straight. He made eye contact. He was smiling. He said, "Dr. Remington, my wife keeps asking me what's gotten into me. I told her it was your doing. She wants to send you a thank you card." I hear some version of that story more often than you'd think. And every single time it reminds me why I do this work. Now, before you run out and buy all 5 of these tonight, and I know some of you are already pulling up Amazon as we speak, I want to make sure you're using these powders the right way. Because used correctly, they're genuinely powerful. Used carelessly, you won't get the results you're looking for. Timing is everything. Aim to take your powders 30 to 60 minutes before intimacy. That window gives your body the time it needs to absorb and activate the compounds so they're working at full capacity exactly when you need them. Don't take them and expect instant results in 5 minutes. Give them the time to do their job. Start low and go slow. This is the advice I give every single patient who comes through my door. Begin with the lower end of the recommended dose for each powder and pay attention to how your body responds. Every man is different. What's perfect for one person might need a slight adjustment for another. Once you know how your body responds, you can dial in the dose that works best for you specifically. Hydration matters more than most people realize. These compounds work best when your body is well hydrated. Drink plenty of water throughout the day, not just when you're about to take the powders. Think of it like this. You wouldn't rev a car engine without making sure there's enough oil in it first. Your circulatory system works the same way. Mix your powders with a small glass of water. 4 to 6 ounces is plenty. Stir well, and drink it down about 45 minutes before you need it. Some men prefer to pour the powder directly on their tongue and wash it down with water, which works just as well. Do whatever is most convenient for your routine. And I want to be really clear about something. These powders are powerful accelerators, but they are not a substitute for taking care of your overall health. Regular exercise, a diet that's actually nourishing your body, not just filling it up. Quality sleep and managing your stress levels are all non-negotiable for long-term male vitality. Think of these powders as a turbo boost, but you still need a solid engine underneath. The two work together. Now, and this is the part I feel most strongly about, please talk to your doctor before you start adding any of these supplements to your routine. I mean it. I know it can feel awkward to bring this stuff up at a checkup, but your health comes first. Full stop. This is especially important if you have heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, or if you're currently on any medications. Certain compounds can interact with existing health conditions or pharmaceuticals in ways that aren't safe. L-Citrulline, for example, can lower blood pressure, which is a good thing for most men, but potentially a concern if you're already on blood pressure medication. Horny goatweed can interact with certain heart medications. Your doctor knows your complete health picture. I only know what you tell me in a YouTube comment. So please, make that appointment, bring this information, and have an honest conversation. We want to enhance your passion, but we have to do it smart. I also want to take a moment to address something I've noticed in the comments section because it tells me a lot about what you all are actually dealing with. A lot of you are asking where to buy these powders. I hear you, and I covered that in the breakdown above. But I want to add one more thing. Don't overcomplicate this. You don't need a specialty supplement store. You don't need to order from some obscure website. Amazon, GNC, Vitamin Shop, Whole Foods, Sprouts. These are all perfectly good options for every single powder I mentioned. Stick to pure powder forms with no added fillers when possible, and always check the label for the active compound concentration, especially with the horny goatweed extract. And for those of you who wrote in saying you've been dealing with this for years, some of you for a decade or more, and you've tried things that didn't work, and you're skeptical and you've been let down before, I understand. That skepticism is earned. I'm not here to oversell you on anything. What I'm sharing with you today is rooted in over 20 years of clinical experience and a genuine passion for men's health. These aren't magic bullets. They're targeted, evidence-informed natural compounds that support what your body is already trying to do. When used correctly, consistently, and in combination with a reasonably healthy lifestyle, they work, not for everyone identically and not overnight, but they work. The man from Seattle, who's been married 47 years and struggling with this for the past 3, I see you. The guys in their late 60s who feel like they've quietly checked out of that part of their marriage, I see you too. You deserve to feel vital. Your partner deserves to have the full version of you, and you deserve to know that solutions exist that don't require a prescription, don't cost a fortune, and don't come with a list of side effects that would make your head spin. So here's my challenge to you, right now tonight. First, pick one of the powders I described and commit to researching it this week. Start with L-Citrulline if you're not sure where to begin. It's the most well-researched, the most affordable, and the most straightforward to use. Second, make an appointment with your doctor to discuss adding these supplements to your routine. I know it feels uncomfortable. Do it anyway. Third, come back and tell me how it goes. Drop a comment below. Tell me which powder you're starting with, or share your experience if you've already tried any of these. I read your comments every week and they genuinely shape the content I create. You've already taken the first step by watching this far. That tells me you're serious about this. You're not just going to sit there and accept a diminished version of your intimate life. You're going to do something about it. And that right there is exactly the kind of mindset that gets results. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I put out new videos every week specifically designed for men who want to take their health, their vitality, and their relationships seriously. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one, because what I'm covering in my next video is something that almost nobody in this space is talking about, and I think it's going to blow your mind. This is Dr. Ava Remington, reminding you that vitality isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you build, protect, and reclaim. You've got more in the tank than you think, gentlemen. Go prove it.